Hello and welcome. This is Grant Hughes of Grant Hughes Investigates on YouTube. This channel evaluates all aspects of true crime. As you are aware, videos and live streams in this genre often discuss elements of crime that may be disturbing to some viewers. If necessary, take the precautions needed to avoid these feelings. Factual information related to cases is the key to fostering rational true crime discussions. Fortunately, you will find that here. Please hit the like button only once, share the video, and subscribe if you like my content. Thank you very much for watching. What the hell's going on? I can't see a damn thing. I don't even know if anybody's even here. Hold on. I think I lost the chat. No, there it is. Right there. Alright, I gotta switch screens for a second. That's not the one I was doing. This one. Yep. I was just starting to watch the 60 minutes on Delphi. I guess I've only got a quarter of a way through. But on my streaming, on my wireless television, it sort of stopped at 38 minutes in and didn't continue. So I don't know what the deal is there. So I'll have to watch the rest of it later. But I thought it was interesting how Jerry Holman, they said, well, why do you think Ron Logan came up with the alibi? And he goes, well, I just think, and they just cut him off right in the middle of a sentence. It was amazing. God. They cut him off right in the middle of the sentence. And he likely would have said because he was nervous that he would find out that he was driving, which breaks his parole. And by the way, Ron Logan got 4 years extra in prison. And I think it was because he had firearms and he broke his parole. That when they said unrelated charges. But they had all the usual suspects on there. Barbara McDonald, you know, and all the Ron Logan did it people over and over and over again. You know, there's things I was thinking about while I was just watching that quarter. I got to go watch the rest of it though. Karen sent me the link, and I heard about it. I knew that it happened, but I hadn't watched it. So then I tried watching it online. Doesn't look like we're going to have many people here again tonight. My channel just does not get into the algorithm. Doesn't show up anywhere. Got 79 people. Might be a short night again. But we started to go down. We're trying to get into the end of the month here on a high note, but we've kind of gone backwards a little bit. So, I don't know. Hoping to do well again tonight, but doesn't... given the number of people that are watching, doesn't sound like that's going to happen. I do not know how to fix it. I've tried everything. I don't know what to do. Or if you guys want to go out and, whenever I do live streams, if you go share that I'm doing a live somewhere, that might help out. But everyone just kind of shows up and that's it. You got a lot of these other channels. They have like the army of people that watch them to go out and share. And then all of a sudden, all these people come running in. And that's how they get a lot of people. So that would be cool if you guys did the same thing from time to time. Because I never see anything. And when I say share, I don't mean on your own personal Facebook page. I mean in groups that you're in that have a significant number of people, and then you share it. And then maybe more people might show up. Don't know. And instead, I don't know what the deal is. I can't answer the question. Anyways, I just watched, got done with the series Cobra Kai. I love that series. You know, what a perfect ending too. Like the whole series just ended. Everything was nicely wrapped up into one. You know, who knows if it might turn into some offshoot at some other point. But you know, I don't know what it was. That was one of my favorite YouTube shows. Just because it was like kind of reminded you of back when you were in high school, and just I don't know, a lot of stuff. It's pretty cool. Well, you guys, we're currently at 0, starting the show here. If we're trying to reach a goal tonight, so it's gonna be tough if we remain at that level. Usually at the beginning of the show, there's something that let us get moving forward, but today, no. Yeah, right. Yeah, there's always Facebook groups in the true crime world out there, especially on certain cases. I don't even know if I'm gonna do a show. 78 people. That's just not gonna do it. But maybe we'll start off here with this missing person, Jaden Kennedy. Just a real quick thing here. So there's a missing lady named Jaden Kennedy, 5'9", 190, 210. She's 32 years old. Her family last spoke to her Wednesday morning. Jaden was last seen Wednesday night when she stayed at a hotel in Carlsbad. So it kind of makes you think that she's at because she apparently was there with her boyfriend who's only 23 years old. And now that you think that she was staying at a hotel, was she staying there because they sort of, you know, got in a fight or something? Because apparently they broke up or something, and they were both in New Mexico together, but then they broke up, but then she's at a hotel.
Ocean wave, ocean wave, ocean wave.
And apparently he's already moved back away. What great timing. So Jaden's phone is, hey, thanks, Alley Cake. Jaden had moved to Carlsbad with her boyfriend Luke Tyndall approximately 2 months ago, and he has left and moved back to Houston. I mean, that's sort of interesting, right? And he moved back saying that they broke up. I mean, that's all of a sudden you're suspect number one when something like that happens. I mean, if he moved back and she was already and still alive speaking to people, then that would be a different story, but we haven't heard that yet. Jaden's family has filed a missing person with Carlsbad PD. Both of them, he has some, he has charges. Let's see, one of his charges is, assault family and like a house member. Okay, at some point. She has charges of some theft charges and things like that. Not huge levels, but different theft charges. Kind of a lot of records though on her. And so apparently, this is the hotel that she was last seen at. Right there. Apparently, like there's this picture. Maybe that's her in the hotel. That's her right there. And so last seen on February 19th. So that's just 6 days ago. Leaving Sleep Inn Hotel in Carlsbad, New Mexico. And that's right here. Oh, look at that. They even have 360-degree camera. So I have a feeling that's going to be exactly what that. There it is. See? Look at that. Look at that. I think she's walking by. Yeah, it might be the other direction. Like she's going into the building. So let's see. She's walking in. You can see. I can't tell. I mean, there's that wood there, but that brick here looks similar to that, doesn't it? Although, it doesn't match because this is horizontal and this is, well, this is like horizontally coming in, but this is vertical, sideways to her foot. So that can't be where that video's from. It might be, oh, look at that. So I guess we can walk into the building here. Yeah, I don't know where we're at. I mean, it looks close, but that might be like a hallway inside the building, actually. Maybe we can walk all around. Let's see. This is just like it was in the Kanika Jenkins Hotel. Remember that? Where we could walk around in it. Yeah, it could be an elevator, sure. It could be anything. Yeah, it does look like an elevator. I don't know where there is one in this shot here, though. Yeah, I mean, you got that floor number 1. Maybe that's what this is right here. But it looks kind of deep going that way. Like a really short elevator, if that's what that is. I mean, look how weird that looks. Or maybe she's getting onto... Because see how it looks like a hall back there? I mean, elevators would be more like you'd see a wall right there, you know what I mean? Yeah, I know, Moofus. We can see the floor number. I just said that. What I'm saying is she's either stepping onto... I don't know if this is the elevator back here. So I think she's almost like she's getting onto the elevator. And I don't know if we're going to get to see where that is. There are some more 360-degree cameras. Maybe we can go into here. That's a room. And I'm not sure. I mean, is this a 2-floor building? Yeah. So, definitely elevators in there. Yeah. So, anyways, I mean, it's obvious there's an elevator inside the hotel. So somewhere inside there, and that's the last time she was seen, but looks like she was getting onto an elevator. So likely either leaving or going up to her floor, but it looks like maybe it's a floor that she was on. Oh, you just typed in, you can see the number. That's what you typed in after that. Let's see. Yeah, it just had a 1 on it. That's about it, really. I mean, this story, I mean, we could read this. It says, her family last spoke to her Wednesday morning. Jaden was last seen Wednesday night when she stayed at a hotel in Carlsbad. Jaden's car was found by police at the village apartments, and Jaden has not been seen or found. So those are village apartments. So maybe that's where they live. Maybe that's where they were staying. So these are apartments right here. And the apartments are right next door. Either that or they live somewhere else. She was tracked down, and then the car was moved to the apartment, hoping it wouldn't be found for quite a while. Could be something like that. But it could just be that they lived at the apartments, and then she decided, they broke up, so she went over to the hotel or something. So I guess they lived, that's where her car was found, inside of that apartment complex. And then there's a picture here. That's the guy right there. He's 23 and she's 32. And that's it. That's all I got. So if you're out there somewhere and you see her, I guess at the end here, call the Carlsbad New Mexico Police Department at 575-885-2111, or you can message your family at 432-979-5852 or 432-978-5862. There you go. So this, and he's already gone back to Texas. And so where would she be? You know, her car is right there, and she's not in the hotel anymore. So somebody either abducted her or did something to her and took her somewhere and put her body somewhere. That's like. There's only a couple options here. I doubt she like met some person romantically just immediately and then took off with them and left her car never to come forward again. That just doesn't make a lot of sense. Alright. Yeah, it doesn't sound good. There's so many people that look similar to me lately. Like there's this case from this other case. There's no information on it, but let me see if I can find the picture. It was so weird. She looks so similar to me. I saw, okay, first I saw this picture right here. Who does that look like to you guys? If you just were going to say, immediately I thought, God, I know who that person is. I've seen that person before. Who does that look like to you? I'll show you who it looks like to me. I mean, it's pretty wild. See, I thought it looked like Mercedes Vega. Yeah, that's the same thing that. I mean, if you looked at that and somebody said that was the same person, you would not argue with them at all. See the eyelashes, the nose, the lips, every single. I mean, like almost the entire thing. You would not argue with somebody if you said that was the same person. But also. Zozo thought it looked like Allison Watterson. I've seen Allison Watterson. I see, like, you know, the dark hair and everything. Yeah, so that's who I thought it was. When I saw the picture, I go, God, I've seen this person before. And then I remembered that's what that picture of Mercedes Vega on the left reminded me of that shot. Yeah, I just said that. So let's see. But when I put a picture of Allison Watterson up there, I didn't see the same type of level of similarity. I'll show you. It's almost like Allison Waters sort of Watterson's in between, sort of, right? Like if you took this picture here, and you know, it's pretty strange. So if you put that in the middle, it's like a combination of them all, right? Weird. It's crazy, huh? Yeah. All right. Well, you guys, let's see. See, the thing was, we have, you know, the John Paul in the Micah Miller case. He's been charged with, like, crimes against the, you know, like these young kids, right? So, I mean, the thing is, everybody, people are going to want me to say that Micah Miller was killed by John Paul, and she just wasn't. Okay. You know, he might be responsible, like he's the one that put her in the state of mind, but there is absolutely no chance at all that he killed Micah Miller. She's actually on 911 saying she's going to do that. She's seen buying the gun. Everything is right there. It's really obvious stuff. And, you know, people want it to be that, but the guy was a scumbag, and in the investigation into him, they probably uncovered a lot of other stuff. So maybe we can take a look at that. It's a PDF file that goes through it. You guys want to go through this? Alright, but if you guys could please help support the channel. We're currently at 1/20th again, just struggling along. So if you guys have the ability to help, we're trying to get to the end of the month strongly so that I can give a larger percentage. I was going to do something tonight where if you guys did 300, I'd donate 500 to NICMEC, you know, again in honor of, since we'll be talking about Abby and Libby later, and also this Micah Miller case, you know, National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. But given the fact there's only 141 people here, that might be pretty difficult. But if you guys are into it, we could try to do it. My goal is to be able to give away 2,500 this month because it's just been that bad. Alright. Hey, thanks, Amber Maiden.
Ocean wave, ocean wave.
But if we get to, we're currently at $20. If we get to 300, I'll donate $500, which is equivalent to bringing in 750 because YouTube takes 30%. So if you guys bring in 300, then I'll donate 500 to the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. All right. Not sure what you're talking about, Lynn. We're just trying to cover something. All right. Yeah, just let me do my own thing, Lynn. I don't know what you're referring to or anything. I have no idea what you're talking about. Just you don't need to repeat something you see on the screen and just type it in. You know, it's just like, just watch the show. All right, so right here it says, for years, John Paul Miller, hereafter JPM, and Reginald Wayne Miller, also known as Reginald Wayne Miller, have presented themselves as devout religious leaders. They built their reputation in the Myrtle Beach community. I remember Lynn sort of lived over there. Remember she went to that one, what was that? Something on the beach you went to for us? Hey, thank you, Allie Cake. I'm just trying to figure out a way to be able to donate more money this month
Ocean
to get
wave,
back on track.
Ocean wave, ocean wave.
What was that you went to, Lynn? It was some kind of a memorial service, maybe? I don't remember what that was. They built their reputations in the Myrtle Beach community and beyond as men of faith dedicated to spreading God's word and training future church leaders. But this image was a lie. Behind their religious facade, John Paul Miller and Reginald Wayne Miller engaged in sexual abuse and predatory conduct, often targeting minors. Who's that? Who's Reginald? Who is that guy? Is that his dad, or? You know who that is? Thank you, Kathy Freidemaker. Hey, who's this other person? This Reginald guy? I can't remember. It's been so long. Okay, his dad. All right. Wow.
Riding the wave.
Jeez. You know, you can just look at John Paul Miller and look at his low ears. He looks a little bit like Koberger. You know, with those low damn ears. They basically hit his jowls. His ears are so freaking low. As soon as you see the low ears, run for the hills, man. Run, get the hell out of Dodge. I'm being a little bit facetious, but you gotta. There's something to it, man. There's something to it. Hey, thanks, Jessica Schubach. Right, Zaza? And I'm not saying you have low ears. I'm just saying you see it every time. It's crazy. Behind their religious facade, John Paul Miller and his father engaged in sexual abuse and predatory conduct, often targeting minors. They use their positions of power to manipulate and exploit vulnerable victims while concealing their actions from the public. Upon information and belief, this deception has shielded them from the law enforcement scrutiny, allowing their misconduct to continue unchecked. Reginald Wayne Miller founded Cathedral Baptist Church of the Grand Strand, Inc., along with several other religious and educational institutions. RWM's son, the father and son, followed the son followed the father's footsteps and took over RWM's religious empire. Upon information and belief, these institutions were not created to only serve God, but to further Miller and John Paul Miller's predatory behavior. And don't forget, we also have the coffee option. The churches and their related entities operated without adequate protections for minors, creating an environment where abuse could thrive. Upon information and belief, this was not accidental. It was part of a calculated plan to groom victims. I think Micah Miller was actually one of those people, while simultaneously gaining the community trust and financial support. Recently, the death of John Paul Miller's ex-wife, Micah Frances Miller, has once again drawn attention to John Paul Miller and Reginald Wayne Miller. Micah Frances Miller's relationship with John Paul Miller was deeply troubled. Upon information and belief, it exemplified the power and control he exercised over women in the church. Thanks, Sandy. We do have great mods, don't we? Thanks, Kami. Micah, let's see. As detailed in this complaint, the defendants both individually and together have built, maintained, and concealed a system of sexual misconduct that harmed numerous minors, including plaintiff Jane Doe number 1. Let's see. Plaintiff Jane Doe number 1 is a person now over the age of 18, but she was a minor at the time of the majority of events giving rise to cause of actions alleged in this complaint. Yeah, this is crazy. I haven't read it yet myself, by the way. It's so boring when you read the whole thing and then you read it again. It's like basically you're like looking at one of these comments on the screen for 5 hours. The plaintiff, Jane Doe number 1, is now a citizen and resident of Indiana. Plaintiff is filing this action anonymously under the pseudonym Jane Doe number 1 because the subject matter of this lawsuit could bring embarrassment and publicity to the plaintiffs. Plaintiff Jane Doe number 1 risks humiliation and embarrassment if she is identified, since some of her allegations involve descriptions of sexual acts foisted upon her, and allowing her to proceed with a pseudonym brings her comfort. If the ability to proceed with a pseudonym is not allowed, the plaintiff will experience further harm because of exercising her legal rights. If plaintiff is forced to disclose her identity, that disclosure will amplify the inquiries that are at issue in this litigation. The public interest in the disclosure of plaintiff's identity is minimal. Yeah, the only people that want to know her name are the sickos on YouTube and social media that want to get her name so they can go look and pretend that there's something else. They always turn everything into something. There's probably people out there that are John Paul fans, actually, that would go try to trash this lady. You know how they work. Just like the Richard Allen nut jobs. Let's see. If the ability to... Okay. The public interest in the disclosure of Plaintiff's identity is minimal and not outweighed by substantial harm of revealing her identity. There will be no furtherance of justice by requiring the public disclosure of plaintiff. Once the defendant are served and retain counsel, plaintiff identity will be revealed to defendants in a confidential manner if not already known. Defendants are not prejudiced by allowing plaintiff to proceed anonymously. I mean, John Paul doesn't seem like somebody that wouldn't just reveal the name randomly out there, does he? He would do it. And any potential prejudice will be mitigated by the confidential disclosure of plaintiff's actual identity soon after this lawsuit is filed. Upon information and belief, defendant John Paul Miller, hereinafter JPM, is a citizen and resident of the state of South Carolina and is currently a pastor at Solid Rock Ministries. Yeah, I hate his listening. When I was younger, I used to always sit and watch people like Jimmy Swaggart, these guys on TV, the televangelists. And I didn't watch them because I was, interested in learning what they were saying. I was really watching them just thinking, my God, there's people that believe this guy? Look at this garbage. It was just kind of the way that they would talk and then you see John Paul Miller doing the exact same thing. Yeah, Tammy Faye Baker, the whole thing, everybody. I mean, it's ridiculous. And I was really into stuff like that, like, the Portland Trailblazers, the play-by-play guy. I'd listen to him, and then I'd listen to all, the Timbers announcers, the college basketball teams. I think it was Darylani for the Beavers, and I just used to listen and try to memorize and things like that. But like the televangelist, it was just interesting, just watching this and then looking at the people in the crowd and just going, what the hell is going on here? Yeah. All right, we got $250 more to go, and then I'll donate $500 to Nick Mack. Whether JPM was working or involved in some type of employment or agency capacity with All Nations Cathedral Solid Rock, they were all the same enterprise, and John Paul Miller was the alter ego of All Nations Cathedral. Let's see, it says up here, at all times involved in the action, John Paul Miller was a pastor in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, either at All Nations Cathedral Church or Solid Rock Ministries. Defendant JPM was a man over the age of 18 at all times involved in this action. Upon information and belief, defendant Reginald Wayne Miller, hereinafter, is a citizen and resident of the state of South Carolina and was the head pastor of All Nations and or Cathedral at the time of some of the allegations contained herein. Defendant Reginald Wayne Miller is the father of John Paul Miller. Upon information and belief, defendant Reginald Wayne Miller has also referred to himself as Reginald Wayne Miller, or Reginald with no D, as a way to hide prior transgressions. So no D. That's kind of dumb. Reginald Wayne Miller as opposed to Reginald. I mean, that's not really a great fake name there. Upon information and belief, defendant Reginald Wayne Miller has... Okay, we already did. Upon information and belief, defendant Miller is... All Nations Cathedral Church is a continuation of Cathedral Baptist Church of the Grand Strand, Inc., and is organized and existing under the laws of the state of South Carolina. All Nations is the successor in interest Cathedral and assumed all of its assets and liabilities. All Nations and Cathedral will be referred to throughout this complaint as one intertwined entity. JPM RWM as the alter ego of Cathedral, All Nations, and Solid Rock exercise complete control over the operation, finances, and leadership of all three organizations. I just want to get to, let me see if I can just move it down. Each act of any named defendant or identified action of employee or agents of any defendant identified in this action were performed within the course and scope of any respective duty or employment capacity. Each act of negligence, gross negligence, reckless and or willful wanton conduct by any person employed by the defendant or any defendant is an act of occurrence under the South Carolina Tort Claim Act. Let's see. I just want to go down. Let's see if there's a spot where it starts talking about what happened. Okay, jurisdiction and venue, joint and alter ego. Let's see. Plaintiff is informed and believes that defendants Cathedral and Solid Rock, along with their respective leaders, including John Paul Miller and Reginald Wayne Miller, have operated in such a manner that they should be regarded as a single entity for purpose of liability. 72. Despite any normal corporate formalities, these defendants have failed to observe the operation distinction between Cathedral, All Nations, and Solid Rock, and their individual offers, members and managers, specifically including RWM and JPM. And by the way, if you guys do memberships, it's the same thing. So we'd need it. At this point we'd need, let's see, geez, I don't know, 40, 50 memberships. 50 memberships, and we make it right to where I'll donate $500 to the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. By the way, I was looking it up. Last year we gave $5,500 to, it seems like it was almost exactly the same amount to NCMEC, RAIN, and the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. So $15,000 total for the year, or $16,000 something went to those three. And the only way that happens is if you guys on these nightly shows are supporting the channel that allows me to make an income and also give away a lot, because I use the ad revenue and super chats and etc. to be able to do that. All right. Thank you. Statute of limitations. They're just going through some laws here. This is 43 pages long. I think they're just going through the legal crap. I'm not really that interested in that. I want to see what he's being charged with. Knowledge of prior. Okay. Plaintiff is informed and believes, based on multiple sworn affidavits, that John Miller and Reginald Wayne Miller had long-standing knowledge of sexual misconduct, emotional abuse, and exploitation of minors. And there's NCMEC, see, National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, within their church community long before the incidents alleged in this complaint occurred in 1998 and 2023. Despite their awareness, they failed to take appropriate action, allowing the cycle of abuse to continue unchecked. Knowledge of John Paul Miller's sexual misconduct with minors. Plaintiff is informed and believes that John Paul Miller openly admitted to engaging in sexual misconduct with minor female members of Solid Rock Ministries, an admission that was corroborated by multiple witnesses. In her sworn affidavit, Allison Williams testified that JPM confessed to her that he had been sexually inappropriate with several underage female members of their church. John Paul Miller attempted to justify his behavior by blaming his own history of childhood sexual abuse by his father. Williams' affidavit further states that when John Paul Miller's sexual misconduct became known to the church leadership, he was ordered to enroll in a sexual addiction rehabilitation program. However, upon information and belief, he never complied. Rather than ensuring the safety of minors within the congregation, John Paul Miller and church leadership, I mean, that's just ridiculous. It's like having a pedophile work at a school, and then you tell them, well, we need, if you go get some treatment for it, you can come back and teach at the school again. Give me a break. It's ludicrous. I guess you guys didn't hear my pitch a minute ago. We're trying to reach the $300 level tonight, and then I'll donate $500 to the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. We're currently sitting at $47.95. We've been there for a while now. And let's see, we've got Michelle. I won't say the name now, maybe next time, but and then you got a couple PayPals in there. Rather than ensuring this failure to investigate and allowing John Paul Miller to maintain access to young congregates allowed him to continue his predatory behavior. Plaintiff is informed and believes that RWM predatory behavior spans decades, and that his son, John Paul Miller, learned and adopted his father's abusive practices. In her sworn affidavit, Susan Miller, RWM's ex-wife, detailed how RWM, that's the father, physically and emotionally abused his family and exercised absolute control over both his household and his church congregation. Sounds like a cult. Susan Miller attested that RWM's obsession with the power and control extended beyond his immediate family and into the church, where he engaged in inappropriate relationships with young men and women. See, that's what I was saying. This guy's a deviant. Many of whom were vulnerable members of the congregation. That's in Susan Miller's affidavit. I'd like to see that. Additionally, RWM was publicly accused of sexual misconduct in a televised news investigation which aired allegations that he sexually preyed on young women from his congregation. This report forced RWM to relocate from Florence, South Carolina to Myrtle Beach in an effort to escape scrutiny and rebuild his religious enterprise under a new name, Cathedral Baptist Church and the Grand Strand, now known as All Nations Church. Susan Miller affidavit. Despite the overwhelming evidence of prior misconduct, JPM and RWM continued to operate their church without meaningful oversight, failing to implement or enforce policies to protect minors from exploitation. Both JPM and RWM strategically used their religious authority to suppress allegations and encourage victims from coming forward. As noted in the Allison Williams affidavit, JPM's inappropriate sexual behavior with minors was widely known among church leaders, yet they took no effective action to prevent further abuse. Instead, John Paul Miller manipulated or ignored church policies and leadership structures to shield themselves from accountability. The defendants and church leaders failed to take corrective action regarding John Paul Miller's. Is this like a civil suit here? That's what it feels more like. I don't know, it's weird. Combined with their continued allowance of Reginald Wayne Miller to lead a church despite past allegations. This inaction created an environment where sexual misconduct was tolerated, enabling abuse to flourish within Cathedral and Solid Rock, continuing in part to the harm suffered plaintiff Jane Doe number 1. That's page 27. Let's see, this is answer the complaint. It feels, maybe it is like a criminal complaint, I don't know. Okay, so maybe it's right here. John Paul Miller had positioned himself as a high-ranking pastor of a large congregation, presenting himself as a spiritual leader while continuing to engage in predatory behavior. In 2023, plaintiff encountered John Paul Miller in person in Myrtle Beach while accompanied by a friend. Despite being in public setting, John Paul Miller leaned into Jane Doe number 1 as if to hug her and shoved his hand down her pants, touching her genitals without consent. Plaintiff immediately recoiled and tried to brush it off and moved his hand because he didn't think her friend noticed and she was scared. About 30 minutes later, Jane Doe number 1 and John Paul Miller had a heated argument about his using his title of pastor and use of scripture to justify sexual misconduct. In response, John Paul Miller cited scripture, telling plaintiff, "No man is without sin and temptation. God understands that." It's almost, it's so ludicrous, it's kind of funny in a way. Like, what kind of an idiot? No man is without sin. So, yeah, he can do anything he wants, right? Because he just has to, you can just put out that scripture and say, no man is without sin. What about the low ear types? Alright guys, I'll try it again. We're currently at 45 in here. We're trying to reach 300 tonight. And if so, I'll donate $500 to the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, and which is equivalent to having a night where there was 700 and something brought in because YouTube takes 30%. Alright, so just trying to figure out a way to, help generate some income for tonight, but that's what we'll donate. Alright, so if you have the ability to, I would appreciate it. We've kind of just started off okay, and it just froze right after that. And this channel, we've given $230,000 since January of 2020, if you're somebody just randomly here, and over near $100,000 to a DNA fund for identifying Jane and John Does, and $12,000 in the last 2 years for a scholarship fund where we help students in the criminal justice world go to college. Okay, so if you guys could please help support the channel tonight so we can get to the number, and then I'll be able to donate 500 more to Nick Mech. That would be great. But it seems like as soon as I said that, it got slow. I mean, it's like, come on, you guys. Man, remember the old days when we do that? Oh, shit, we'd already be done right now. And the difference now is it actually goes backwards. It's like, I remember about like 2 years ago, if I had said that, I'd say in the first 45 minutes we'd get right there. It's weird how things just change. Who knows? Let's see. About 30 minutes later, Jane Doe number 1 and JP, I got in a heated argument. In response, JPM cited scripture telling plaintiff, "No man is without sin and temptation. God understands that." Plaintiff was left reeling from the encounter, experiencing a long-delayed spiral, self-doubt, and depression caused by his fresh assault on her by JPM. Hey, thanks Linda Howell and K-Me. Alright, let's see. It's 2 memberships. Yeah, and if you guys do memberships, that'd be good.
That would get there. We just, need about 50 more of those. But this sexual assault by JPM triggered repressed memories of plaintiff of things which occurred at an earlier time. Repressed memories, huh? Upon later reflection and trying to remember previous events, the plaintiff realized that JPM had assaulted her almost 20 years before. Wow. So what, this must have been when she's much older. This must have been something that happened kind of recently then, or something. To have something where you say 20 years prior. Hey, thanks Cheryl Bullock, Moofies, and Naomi. God, you guys remember that video where John Paul Miller was on the ground in his yard? What a tool, man. That guy. It's like he was just mumbling around like a psycho. And the reason he was doing that is he probably knew he was busted for something. So he tried to distract people with his weirdness. I wonder what the real thing behind that is. Hey, wow, thanks GSUPM. Did you get it?
Thanks, freaks.
Wait, hold on, let me see. Did you? No. I don't know, man. I'm not sure what's going on. Yesterday we did 40 something and we still didn't give GSU 40 membership attempts and didn't get one. It's crazy. Like, you're actually here and some of the people winning aren't here. It's wild. Yeah. That's right. The Daniel Armentrout one. You guys should look that one up. Go to the New York Post and look up Daniel Armentrout, and you'll see the great work that we did. That one cost like $10,000. There was a lot of like extra work to get the string to, but we did it. And the one that we really want to do is the one in Vermont, where there was this lady and her 2 kids were found in 1930 something, wrapped up in an awning, and they've never been identified, but it would probably lead directly to the killer because the dad wasn't there, the father, and nobody ever reported anybody missing either. Pretty weird, huh? But that one, we've tried it, and the only bone that we had, they couldn't get any DNA, so I almost want them to exhume it again. Yeah, I guess Vermont too. Yeah. Some people call it Addison, some call it Vermont. Let's see. All right, let's see where are we at now though on the. So we're currently at probably about 40%, 127. So we need to get another 170 something, and then we'll get to 300, and then I'll donate 500 to the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. And we currently have no coffees. We have we got a couple PayPals. Okay, so the plaintiff was left reeling from the encounter, and then she experiencing a long-delayed spiral of self-doubt and depression. This sexual assault by JPM triggered repressed memories. So upon later reflection and trying to remember previous events, the plaintiff realized that JPM had assaulted her almost 20 years prior. Jane Doe number 1 sexually assaulted at the age of 15 in 1998. All right, so she was 15 in 98, so then 27, 37. So this person's 42 years old now. At the time, she did not fully comprehend the nature of what had happened to her or the extent of the harm it caused. The trauma was deeply buried, and for decades, She had no conscious recollection of the assault. See, those are the kind of things that's tough in court. Like somehow you don't remember anything, and then all of a sudden you remember it. I wonder how they're going to get past that. The plaintiff lost her memory before she turned 18, likely within a few months or a year of the occurrence of the 1998 assault. It was not until she experienced another sexual assault in 2023 by JPM that the suppressed memories of 1998 incident resurfaced. So maybe that was like a trigger to remember something. Through therapy and reflection following the more recent assault, Jane Doe came to understand the profound impact of the earlier abuse, as well as the connection to the psychological and emotional struggle she had endured throughout her life. After her memories were triggered by the second assault, the plaintiff remembered details of the 1998 sexual assault. In June of 1998, plaintiff Jane Doe number 1, a 15-year-old minor, attended All Nations Church, formerly known as Cathedral Baptist Church of the Grand Strand, Inc. Hey, look at that. Alley cake. You didn't get it again. Yeah, that's amazing. Just GSUPM. I don't know. Is that, you can't be that unlucky. Thanks, Alley Cake. Did I just see? I thought I just saw like a coffee or something on there. Yeah. Yeah, I wonder why you guys aren't getting them. It's weird. Yeah, right after she finished saying some dumbish, I watched from non-memberhood as she got the next gifted membership. Oh, really? That's awesome. That sucks. Yeah, see, it just randomly gets given to people. A lot of people, like the troll world, they think it's funny to make themselves available for memberships and then show up to my show stealing memberships from people who actually can't afford it and want to be members. They think that's cute and funny. Like they sit around laughing, going, oh, this is so funny and cute. And really, they're just disgusting people. And that's just, they know it inside, you know. When they look in the mirror, they know that they are, but they can't help themselves. They're a little bit like this guy right here, you know. Very similar, predators. You know, disgusting monsters. After her memories were triggered by the second assault, the plaintiff remembered details of the 1998 sexual assault. In June of 1998, plaintiff Jane Doe number 1, a 15-year-old minor, attended All Nations Church, formerly known as Cathedral Baptist Church of the Grand Strand, Inc. Plaintiff spent her summers in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, residing with her grandparents, who were members of Cathedral. Plaintiff's time in Myrtle Beach was supposed to be a period of safety, love, and warmth. Her grandparents were her support system, and the summers she spent with them were among the happiest times of her childhood. John Paul Miller was a 19-year-old adult male employed by Cathedral as a young leader and musician at Cathedral in 1998. Hey, welcome, Matthew. At the time of the events in question, JPM was known to his father, head pastor, church leadership, and members as a troubled individual with a history of reckless behavior, including prior legal troubles, a child born out of wedlock, and a pattern of misconduct. Despite his knowledge, church leadership, including defendant Reginald Wayne Miller, who was JPM's father and the head pastor of All Nations, failed to take reasonable steps to monitor John Paul Miller's behavior and continue to allow him to or allowed him unrestricted access to minor children at the church, in the sanctuary, his father's office, or in the church's program, including the youth program. RWM had personally engaged in sexual misconduct before 1998. That's his father. He knew his son was engaging in sexual misconduct. This was the proverbial fox guarding the henhouse. RWM did not institute any type of safeguard over the danger posed by JPM or himself. RWM had complete control of the church by virtue of the bylaws of which left him in complete control of the church without any oversight by anyone else. Though he was in control, there was other leaders of the church who could have intervened to protect minors at church. They did not. They ceded complete control to RWM, who allowed his son, JPM, to have a free reign over the church and the minors at the church. This church was JPM's sexual playground. Leadership at the church, including RWM, should have undertaken something to protect the minors at the church from JPM and any other predator. They did not. On or about July 19, 1998, a Sunday morning, plaintiff attended Cathedral, formerly All Nations Church, with his grandparents and her grandmother, who proceeded to her Sunday school class held in a separate classroom building, the Academy building, on church property. Plaintiff initially intended to attend Sunday school with their grandmother, but changed her mind instead and went to the church building where she intended on going to her grandfather's Sunday school class. The class had begun and the doors were shut, and Jane Doe number 1 wasn't aware which room he was in, so instead of interrupting class, she entered the main church sanctuary. John Paul Miller was playing the piano. He was playing Ave Maria. I'm just kidding, it doesn't say that. And this guy's just... JPM was playing the piano, and another band member was strumming a guitar. Upon noticing plaintiff, John Paul Miller engaged her in conversation. At some point, plaintiff stepped away from the sanctuary and walked down the hall to the restroom. When plaintiff exited the restroom, she encountered John Paul Miller standing near his father's office door. John Paul Miller called out plaintiff's name and initiated a seemingly innocent conversation, inquiring about a mutual friend's recent absence from church. Without warning, John Paul Miller forced plaintiff inside his father's office, shutting the door behind him. John Paul Miller immediately became aggressive, physically overpowering plaintiff and forcing her against the wall. John Paul Miller despite plaintiff's struggles and verbal pleas for him to stop, John Paul Miller ignored her and forcibly moved her out of the office, down the hall, and to a door that led outside to a grassy side yard of the church where John Paul Miller's truck was parked. John Paul Miller then forced Jane Doe number 1 into his truck, and that is where he assaulted her. At the time of the assault, plaintiff was a virgin. Plaintiff was terrified, physically overpowered, and left defenseless against John Paul Miller's assault. John Paul Miller, an adult man in a position of authority without the church, took full advantage of plaintiff's youth experience and vulnerability to commit this heinous act. Following this sexual assault, plaintiff remained silent about what had occurred with JPM and was overcome by shock, shame, and fear. In the following months, plaintiff exhibited clear signs of trauma, including severe depression, social withdrawal from family and friends, declining academic performance, and emotional distress and self-doubt. Is this a civil suit? That's what it sounds like in the wording. Despite prior concerns about JPM's behavior, church leadership, including Reginald Wayne Miller, failed to take any action to investigate or prevent further abuse. Shortly after being assaulted by JPM in 2023, plaintiff received a text message informing her that JPM's wife had died. The cause of death was reported as a gunshot wound to the head under suspicious circumstances. Within hours of her death, JPM delivered a sermon using manipulative rhetoric to maintain control over his congregation, despite the tragic and questionable circumstances surrounding his wife's passing. But the investigation into the wife's passing doesn't seem questionable, nor is it doesn't it seem even, I mean, it's just like it's really clear. You see her on surveillance go into a store, she buys a gun, then she calls 911 and literally tells the lady that she's going to take her own life, and that's exactly what she did. You know, and so people can come up with all kinds of different theories and whatever, but it's just not, there's no evidence backing it up whatsoever. Let's see, this was yet another example of John Paul Miller's conniving and manipulative behavior. Plaintiff suffered immense guilt after JPM's wife's death, believing that had she spoken up sooner, she might have prevented further harm to others. This guilt and shame experienced by Jane Doe number 1. Who is Jane Doe number 1? Is Jane Doe number 1 the girl that's in the picture with him at the restaurant? Wouldn't that be weird? Because she seems like she's about that age. And she probably, you know, I mean, I don't know if it is or not, but wouldn't that be crazy? Because this person's 40-something years old, right? Plaintiff suffered immense guilt after JPM's wife's death, believing that had she spoken up sooner, she might have prevented further harm to others. This guilt and shame experienced by Jane Doe number 1 for not reporting the second assault at the time of the occurrence, or the first assault after her memories came flooding back, was another insult to the plaintiff's emotional psyche. John Paul Miller's history of predatory behavior is his continued acts of harassment and assault, and defendant's failure to protect children and to prevent JPM's prevents JPM's unfettered access to minor children have caused plaintiff severe and lasting harm. So that's what this feels for a first cause of action: negligence, gross negligence, recklessness. I think Lynn just sent me the did anybody answer the question? This is just civil, right? All right. That's how everything's worded that way. So let's take a look at the other document. I guess this is the one that lady wrote, Susan Miller. And when was this one? This is, I guess, wow, that's all the way back in 2007? That's crazy. You guys want to do this? I think this might be more. How about let's let me try to throw this into Chat GPT and see if we can get it to like break it down quick. Let's see. All right, where are we at now? We are at well, not much farther than we were, but I'd say about 50%. So we need about another 150, 145. And once we hit the 300, I'll donate 500 to the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. Let's see. Summarize PDF file. All right, here we go.
Sure. Please upload the PDF file and I'll summarize its contents for you.
I like this guy's voice. That's better.
The uploaded PDF appears to be an electronically filed court document related to a case in Horry County's Common Pleas Court, identified as Case 2025 CP 2,601,517. However, the extracted text does not contain substantive details about the case itself, only metadata indicating its electronic filing on February 25, 2025 at 9:14 a.m.
Yeah, I see what's going on. Nothing's been converted to text here, so let me try this. Scan OCR. Enhance. Okay, so it's going to go through all the pages and turn them into words. And then I think it'll be able to do it. Alright. So if I close that and I open it back up again, yeah, see now I can grab it. Okay. So let's try it again.
Sure. Please upload the PDF file and I will summarize it in great detail for you.
Let's see. It's going to work this time.
Detailed summary of the affidavit of Susan Miller. The document is an affidavit filed by Susan Miller in the family court of the 15th Judicial Circuit in Horry County, South Carolina, as part of a civil action against her husband, Reginald Wayne Miller. The affidavit details her request for separation, custody, child support, alimony, and other matrimonial relief. It provides a comprehensive narrative of their marriage, including allegations of emotional neglect, financial control, physical abuse, and infidelity. Key points from the affidavit. 1. Susan met Wayne in high school and was drawn to him after hearing him speak at Evergreen United Methodist Church. They started dating, and despite her parents' disapproval, she quit Winthrop College to marry Wayne in 1974. Her parents refused to attend the wedding due to their concerns about Wayne's temper. 2. Susan initially worked but quit at Wayne's insistence to support his ministry. Wayne was discharged from his original church, though Susan was unaware of the reasons. She dedicated herself to church activities, hosting gatherings, and supporting Wayne's ministry. Despite her sacrifices, Wayne emotionally neglected her, preferring the company of male friends over her. He began traveling extensively without her, often accompanied by young male Bible students. 3. Susan describes feeling like an outsider in her own marriage, as Wayne showed little to no affection. Wayne criticized her appearance, claiming she was too fat, and blaming their lack of intimacy on her. He dismissed her emotional needs and often spent time alone with male friends, making her suspect infidelity. Wayne began taking long trips with young men, further alienating Susan. 4. Susan recounts rumors and allegations of Wayne making sexual advances toward young men. In the late 1980s, Wayne was publicly accused of homosexual misconduct, leading to a news investigation on WPDE Channel 15. The Florence Morning newspaper also ran a report on the allegations. Susan was deeply embarrassed and concerned for her family's reputation and safety. They were forced to leave Florence and move to Myrtle Beach due to the scandal. 5. Susan details Wayne's temper and violent outbursts. He physically disciplined their son John Paul so severely that his legs were left bloody. Her mother threatened to report him to social services. Wayne also choked their son Patrick, prompting police intervention. Susan endured physical abuse herself, particularly during heated arguments. Wayne's strict religious beliefs meant their children could not celebrate holidays like Halloween or Christmas. 6. Wayne controlled all finances and accumulated significant debt in Susan's name. Despite claims of financial struggles, Wayne purchased luxury items, expensive furniture, security systems, a dog for their daughter, took vacations to places.
Here, I was just going to look at something. Look at like a newspapers.com. I mean, he's in there. Let's see. The Reverend Reginald Wayne Miller and Stubs both of, I mean, let's just see. He's just, that's a marriage. What's this one here, though? I will no longer be responsible for any debts incurred by anyone other than myself. Okay. Okay, I'm glad you can just say that out loud. And what if Wayne Miller? Oops. Yeah, forget it. Let me get back to this.
Places like Bermuda cashed out a $15,000 life insurance policy and stopped paying bills. Left Susan and the children without electricity, water, and phone service. Susan was forced to sell furniture to buy food and borrow money from her sister for legal fees. 7. Without Susan's knowledge, Wayne set up a hidden recorder on their home phone. This was discovered by a telephone company technician. This occurred around the time Susan had a brief affair with a man named Rick, which Wayne suspected. 8. Wayne continued leading a controversial church ministry in Myrtle Beach. He invited speakers who made bizarre claims such as gold dust falling from the ceiling. Susan feared for her children's exposure to radical religious figures and dangerous followers. One unstable follower allegedly tried to kill Wayne, prompting Susan to fear for their safety. 9. Custody battle and final. Wayne left the marital home in February 2001, leaving Susan and the children struggling financially. He threatened their son Patrick with taking away his truck unless he attended his church. He took furniture from their home without permission. Susan wants full custody of the children, fearing Wayne's unstable behavior and manipulative tendencies. She is requesting primary custody of the children, child and spousal support based on South Carolina guidelines, possession of the family vehicle, financial assistance to relocate. Conclusion. The affidavit paints a disturbing picture of emotional, financial, and physical abuse within the marriage. Susan details how Wayne prioritized his ministry and male companions over his family, manipulated her financially, and subjected her and their children to neglect and violence. The document supports her request for custody, financial support, and legal intervention to protect herself and her children from further harm.
That's pretty good. And I think it's amazing that ChatGPT can do that. Like literally just take this massive document and break it down into, it doesn't have all the details, obviously. This thing here is pretty long, but it's pretty amazing because you could actually type in more detail, and then make it longer and longer and longer, but it still does a summary of it. I think it's pretty cool. That's the one I did, right? Yeah. Maybe we should try that on the Mark Tinsley. Mark Tinsley. How come that sounds familiar? I don't know. I think I just did this one. We had little time for each other. As new wife, I wanted time alone. After 6 months of working, Wayne wanted me to quit so I could spend more time with him, stay at home, and be more help to him as a pastor's wife. Yeah, that's one. Whenever he said it, she got. Let's see. There's the word fat in there. Wayne told me I was too fat. Okay. So, it obviously it has more detail in there. People don't seem that interested. Did any drop today? I don't know. I could look. All right, guys, we're halfway there. If we want to get to where I can donate the $500, we need to get to 300, and we're at 150-ish. Motion to exceed page limit. What does that mean? That's Koberger, right? He's got so many documents, it's mind-boggling. Yeah. This one is motion to augment and suspend the briefing schedule. I don't know. Order granting amended motion to augment, suspend the briefing schedule. I mean, I could read it if you want to give it a shot. I mean, it just, John Paul Miller and his father and all those people are just piles of crap. We've already known that. I mean, I think Micah Miller probably took her life because she was associated with them. What do you mean it's all coming in? I don't know what that means. Yeah, we went through all the motions last week. He denied all the motions by the Ann Taylor, like every single one of them. There's nothing that was removed. Let me just read what it says. A motion to augment and suspend the briefing schedule was filed by counsel for appellant on January 20th, 2025. A response to motion to augment and suspend the briefing schedule was filed by counsel for respondent on January 24th, 2025. A reply to state's objections to motion to augment and suspend was filed by counsel by appellant on January 24th. An amend motion to augment and suspend the briefing schedule was filed by counsel for appellant on January 30th. A response to amended motion to augment and suspend the briefing schedule was... Sounds like the attorney for Richard Allen, one single solitary man acting alone with dexterity, just repeating the same thing over and over and over. It is ordered that appellant amended motion to augment is granted. 7 days of the date of this order, the court reporter shall provide an invoice for the transcripts to the state public defender, which shall be paid forthwith. Upon payment, the court reporter shall file a notice of transcript deposit with the district court confirming payment of the estimated fee for the preparation of the request transcript. I don't know. This sounds really boring. I'm not sure what this is about. It's just like... it's like more about like the clerk. Clerk within 20 days payment for the transcript of what? What are you talking about? It is further ordered that the district court clerk shall submit to the court and counsel at the same time as the sealed transcripts. I don't know. That just seems really boring. And it is further ordered that the augmentation record shall include the items listed below. Sealed transcript, sealed transcript, sealed transcript. Huh. I don't know. I don't know what that even meant. Was there something you heard that was put out there today? I didn't see anything in there about alibi. Well, if he's rescinding his alibi, it's because he realizes that what he told originally doesn't fit now. I mean, it's just complete garbage. If he's rescinding an alibi, you know, we already knew that, because now Ann Taylor even places him right next to the residence at 329. I mean, let me see if the word alibi is in here. What happened to the one I was just looking at? It just sort of disappeared. Well, let's see. Maybe this is the court having before. I don't even know what I was just looking at. Maybe I was wrong. I don't know what the hell that was. The court having before the defendant's motion to leave to exceed page limit. Defendant's motion in limine and properly disclosed expert testimony motion in limine. Riley Nolan's in reference to touch and contact DNA motion in limine. Witness identifies by bushy eyebrows and motion in limine. Condition and aggravator may exceed the 10-page limit. I mean, they have limits here. Or? Requests a court for an order to allow the defense to exceed. That's again the same thing. I don't know where that is that you're talking about. I don't see it. I don't even know what I was reading a minute ago. That whole appellate thing. It seems to have disappeared. It just talks about some page limits. Okay, well, you said today's docs, not the 21st. I think we went over all these, didn't we? Okay, here's one about an alibi. But you said it was today's, not the 21st. But hey, guys, what happened? We just absolutely went stone cold dead in here. We were making good progress, reaching the goal where I'll donate $500 of my own money to the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children if you guys hit 300. We are currently at, I think, 158. All right, so we got about 140 to go, and then I'll donate $500 to the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, which is equivalent of you guys giving, to make that even would be 700. But you're just doing 3, and I'm going to send 5. And then we'll see where we're at the end of the month coming up here in a few days. I mean, you guys know what we do here, right? All right, let's see. I'm going to go back out, shut this down. Right, so let's get moving. Comes now the state of Idaho by through the Latah County prosecutor attorney and respectfully moves the court in limine for an order prohibiting defendant from presenting any evidence, whether by direct or cross-examination, in support of any claimed alibi other than from the defendant himself. By way of background, the state refers the court to the following. The state's May 23, 2023 request for discovery, disclosure, alibi demand. Right. Then the state's maybe I'll do a video. This would be pretty interesting because then I can go get those exact things. The state's July 22nd, 2023 motion to compel notice of defendant of alibi or alternatively to bar certain evidence. And 3, the defendant's August 2nd, 2023 objection to the state's motion to compel. And then it says the attached partial transcript of the August 18th, 2023 court hearing relating to alibi, where the then presiding judge, John C. Judge, who had no other option in his life other than to be the judge, having that last name, observed that the defendant's proffered so-called alibi, not really an alibi, and then he will address the issue of an alibi disclosure in a subsequent scheduling order, Exhibit S1, page 7, beginning at line 8. Hey, thanks, Moofies. Let's see. Where was that one? The August 22nd, 2023 Nunc Pro Tunc to August 18, 20. Scheduling order, which in paragraph 7 at page 2 addresses the deadline for the defense to comply with its statutory obligations for alibi disclosure. The scheduling order was subsequently vacated when the defendant waived speedy trial on August 23, 2023. The state's December 21st, 2023 motion for scheduling order, which is the second full paragraph on page 3, refers to the issue of alibi. This is pretty cool. The state's December 21st, 2023 motion for scheduling order, which is the second full paragraph on page 3, the February 23rd, 2024 order setting deadlines and hearing, which in paragraph 1 sets an alibi compliance deadline. The defendant on April 17th, 2024 notice of defendant supplement response to state's alibi demand. The state's April 26, 2024 response to notice of defendant supplemental response to state's alibi demand. And then former presiding judge John C. Judge June 27, 2024 scheduling order, which is subsequent to the April 17, 2024 alibi disclosure deadline, and which makes no further reference to the alibi. It has now been approximately 20 months since the state first made its request for discovery disclosure alibi demand on May 23, 2023. As the court file reflects, highlighted by the above items, the defendant has failed to comply with the requirements of Idaho Code 19519 ICR 12.1. Let's see. I thought I just saw, a coffee or something come in. Hey, thanks, Cheryl Bullock. Oh, there it is right there. We got one from Paulette. All right. See, the defendant has yet to specify the specific place or places at which the defendant claims to have been at the time of the alleged offense, and the names and addresses of the witnesses. Oh, come on. Come on, you guys. Why do you guys always let GSU and a couple others be the ones? Thank you. I mean, I always feel bad, but I appreciate your support. I feel bad, I wish everybody would just kind of, it'd be pretty simple if 150 people all did $2 a piece. We would have got to the 300, and then boom, we're ready to go for 500. So. Anyways, thank you, GSU PM, yet again. I wish I could convert that into, you could easily get your own membership, right? But it's now it's dang, we got it. It has to be given to you through the gifting memberships, right? Become a... Let's see, the defendant has yet to specify the specific place or places. Oh no, remember he was over there at Wawa Park gazing at stars, at which the defendant claims to have been at the time of the alleged offense, and the names and addresses of the witnesses upon whom he intends to rely to establish such alibi. As directed by February 23, 2024, orders setting deadlines and hearing, and as discussed in the state's April 26, 2024 response to notice of defendant's supplemental response to state's alibi demand, the defendant's proffered April 17, 2024 notice of defendant's supplemental response to state alibi does not comply with the requirements of Idaho Code 19519 or with the specific directive of the court's February 23, 2024. Wow, look at this. Okay, Lisa Ringer, Piper Peeps, the Golden... Jesus, you gotta be kidding me. Jesus. That's crazy. Come on, you guys. Am I saying you guys? I'm talking about YouTube. YouTube's gotta, like, listen, GSU PM. Hey, Carolina T, the legend. She's the one that came up, made those really cool paintings that I have in the behind the dogs. The one watercolor one is really like, that's a lot of talent on that one. I mean, they're all good, but look at this one right here, blue. Check it out. Look how good that is. That's exactly what blue looked like, right there. Poor Blue. He was awesome. Remember that, you guys? When I bring him up on here and he'd sort of be hugging me a little bit. He was awesome. I miss Blue. I love you too. Love you too. Yeah, she made a bunch. She made like a couple of those things up there. You know, the watercolor one's my favorite because it looks just like him. I think she did the other one too. Let's see. Let me go back there. I think this one here, right? Didn't you do that one too? That was Chloe and Blue. Way back at like years ago. Well, there's a date on it. 2020. Man, that's a long time ago. Isn't that amazing? That's crazy, right? 2020, that's 5 years ago. That's awesome. The Freak Family, everybody. That's what I'm talking. How many months have you been here, Carolina T? What are you up to now? I bet you're 50 something, right? Gotta be. Now, where are we at now? Let's see. Now we're, jeez, let's see. So that'd be, 65, 2. So I think we're like 260. So we're only 40 away from, I think we're only about, because I'm using the memberships too. So I think most of the memberships tonight are the ones that people bought. So that'd be 65 plus 192. That would be 3. I think it's like 258, something like that. So I think we're 42 short, if my math was correct. So there you go. All right. I'll see if we can get there. Hey, what do you think? Maybe I should go up here and... So the defendant said, right, notice of defendant supplement response. This is that crazy crap where he... even were the defendant let me just read this next part here. Starting right here. February 23rd, 2024. Order. Look at that. We get to hear it. Oh, come on. Look at how Moofy's. The anything cool about something we did or supposed to do. You might not have heard of, maybe you have. When I first heard of it was like, used to get angry and all uptight. You can say what you want, spell my name right. All I'm guilty is rocking a house. That's what the rule is all about. It's me Affidavit, tell all your friends, and if you don't wait till you see me again, this way I can hear from the horse's mouth right then and there. We can straight it out. Hey, you want to hear something funny? You know who taught me that rap? Ty Burrell at the University of Oregon on our dorm floor. I think it was in a bathroom. Like we were just shaving. I think we used to take these long, those huge open showers, and we would just sit in there for like 30 minutes. And he taught me that rap right there, if you can believe that. It's a true story, though. Absolutely true. It just goes perfectly with that one. Anyway, thanks. So here we go. Let's do it right now. Then we'll get back to this. Let's see, NCMEC. There we go. National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. Donate. 500. Continue. Dedicate my donation. Let's see. We'll just put it, we can do Abby and Libby again. Let's see, Abby, I don't know how to do it. I'll just put over here, and Libby, just like that. Yeah, and I'll have my email, you guys already know what that one is. And then we'll put it again. All right, you know what? Maybe we should do this to Becky. Hold on, let me get her email in there. Hold on a second. I think that's a good way to do it. And thanks, Lisa, for the coffee. Did she give me her email? I don't know if we email too much. Seems like we Facebook or on the phone. We'll just do it the way we normally do it. Did I spelled Abigail right? I don't usually use the Abigail. Yeah, I think so. Should be good. Oh, let me get that off the screen there. All right. Okay, I gotta fill all this out now. Would you like to receive the free? No, I don't need you guys to. Yeah. What's that? Okay. And I do it through. You'll see it here in a second. All right, and I think that's gonna be it right there. It's clicking through, and there it is. Amount 500. one time in honor of Abby and Libby. Confirmation. And then I got an email sent to me. See that right there? Alright, so I'm going to go over to my email. And then I gotta like go way down at the bottom of the screen because you got these. They actually contact people that show up in my email list because they're that psycho. But see it right down here, the National Center for. It just showed up in there, and then we hit enter there, and there it is. What we just did. Gray Hughes donated in honor of Abby and Libby for every child deserves a safe childhood. And there you go. And that's why our channel's better than the other ones, because they don't do a damn thing except bitch and complain and troll everybody. It's just absolutely incredible. So there you go. This channel strives to make a difference. So in two ways. One, we put out the factual information in cases. And secondly, we try to make sure that we give back a tremendous amount to organizations. That's why this channel now is giving out $230,500. So I guess we got to go fix that, unless my memory isn't right and we have more than that currently. Let's see. Yeah, 230,000 right on the nose. I try to make sure we hit that. So here we go. We've got this is now 2,000 for 2025, which is kind of way behind our normal pace. And then let's see, grand total here now is 230,500. There you go. Awesome. All right, so thanks all of you guys for supporting the channel. I know I try to actively keep getting it going because I want to keep doing this stuff. So, for people out there like, Gray's always trying to get people to send the super chats in and blah, 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 blah. But the thing is if I don't do it, then one of the most important things that we're doing as a group doesn't happen. And that includes our scholarship funds and our DNA fund, and we, Texas Equisearch, and those companies rely on people like us. I've given Texas Equisearch off this channel because of all you guys and my ad revenue, etc. Way over I think it's probably like $25,000 over the last 5 years, which is, a pretty big deal. It's a lot of gas and a lot of stuff for them. And Nick Mac and Rain are about the same. So there you go. And so I appreciate all of you guys. Thanks Moofies and GSU PM today specifically for that extra push there to get us over the edge. So that was good. Very cool. So there you have it. I think that's right. 60. Yeah, we're right there. A couple bucks. No big deal. So I hope you guys kind of get where I'm coming from. So that's why those nights where I get sort of frustrated, that's why. Because I know those nights when we get the channel net income is like $150, there's no chance in hell at the end of the month that I could do anything, right? It's like, when you bring in 150 on the show, then there's taxes and everything. So it has to be my goal used to be around 300 or so, but I lowered it all the way down to 250. That's when I donate the 5 memberships. But tonight I'm doing the 500 instead of the memberships. And then, around 200, that's just sort of barely reaching the goal. And that's it'd be tough, right? Because 200, if you figure, let's say I bring in $200, right? Well, YouTube takes 30%, so that's only 140. So then it has to be ad revenue, and that's why I'm trying to make these videos, because you have to have the ad revenue coming in from the videos, etc., to get that to a number that when you multiply it times 30 days in a month, that would only be $6,000. So how do you donate 3? That's because $3,000 income for an entire month of work is terrible, right? So, you know, you have to bring in, there's a certain amount where you can't really donate much, you know. Like if I brought in like $6,500 gross, it'd be hard to donate a nickel, because at that point you get taxed on that, and then you have to sort of try to live and do all the stuff, pay for all of your software programs, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You know, so that's where it gets kind of complex. But anyways, I just try to tell you guys and keep you in the loop to tell you exactly how it works, you know. Hey, thanks, Snarky Cinderella. Although even if I brought in $6,500, I'd find a way to donate $500 or something. You know, I'd still figure out something. I wouldn't not donate something, but at the same time, you know, we've had months where a year where I average 5,000 something a month. Okay, last year was 49,000, which that's still like 4,000 something a month, right? Well, the first month of this year was 1,500. Okay. Uh-oh. I think they're doing something over there. Do I need to play the music again, this stuff? Oh boy, look at those guys over there. They're just like little, like, perverty little dogs. I don't know what the hell the deal is. Okay. Anyways, hope you guys don't mind me explaining how it all, you know, the inside baseball shit. It's just, it is what it is, you know. That was kind of like adult content there. Hold on, I'm gonna go download this really fast. Folder for Knickknack. Today is 2025-02-25. Wow, isn't that weird? 2025-02. Hey, today must be a weird numeric number for some people. I was just thinking about that today, the other day. But look at it, it's 225 in 2025. When's that going to happen again? I guess next year it'll be 2026 and 20. I guess it's not really that big a deal. It's when it starts getting up to higher numbers. Once it gets past 31, it'll be not happening for another 70 years. Yeah, I just try to explain it because there's trolls out there that try to shape their own narrative about my channel, etc. And they every time that they troll and go around and spread misinformation about me, what they always forget to tell people is that my channel has given $230,000 in a 5-year period. And I think it's about 200,000 more than the entire true crime community combined, including all the really popular huge ones. Okay? And I'm not saying they have to do anything, but I think in the true crime community world, it's even more important to give back just because of the subject matter that you're discussing. Yeah, but nobody ever mentions that. Not once. And you guys, I mean, I'm not to, but like when I'm getting trolled after I'm on Court TV and people say that same shit, I don't see any of you guys in there saying, oh, that's bullshit. He donates 200, to change the narrative. Instead, it's me defending myself, and it feels really stupid, and it's a complete waste of time. So now I just don't even bother. I'd rather have you guys be over there doing that. Yeah, they leave it out every single time. That's their MO, Yeah, I don't know about this whole sponsor thing. I mean, I do get the emails, and sometimes they want me to do like the ad placement things, but I think I have to have a bigger case. I don't think when you have 150 people watching, it's worth anything to them. But anyways, trying my best, you guys. I've been, I'm trying to put videos out there. The last couple of videos absolutely bombed off the planet. I mean, just horrendous views. And my interview with Becky that I did after the trial was over, which is the real one that broke her silence, only got 6,000 views. And then the next person who did an interview got like 100. It's just unbelievable. I don't know what the difference is. I put the right wording, and I guess I don't know, man. I don't know. I just always wondered, think how great this channel would do if I was the one that YouTube would push forward. I mean, how much we would be doing. Because we were on a pace to get to like, gosh, I mean, after this year was over and next year, man, we'd be getting close. We're moving towards the 500,000, but now we're way just, going the other direction. We did, just even looking at this, you can see it. Look, watch. So 2022 was the peak, 62,000, then 57, then 49, which, it's not horrible. But then we're only at 2 this year. And so if you multiply, that would be less than 20,000. Oh, God, they're doing it again. I got to get off this screen, for God's sakes. These guys are... Yeah, I thought it was pretty good. I mean, Becky, she told me even before when she was on that she just got done from a trip and was helping work on a house or something. Was kind of tired and everything, but yeah, she hung in there for like an hour and a half anyways. I don't think they hate true crime. They hate, there's certain like demographics that they promote. I'm not one of those. Yeah, I mean, my channel's done really well in those months, those years that we did well. I mean, when there was those big cases, my channel does well. But when we don't have big cases, it's really difficult in here. It's tough. I mean, just think about it tonight. Like, if there wasn't a Moofy's and there wasn't a GSU PM, we wouldn't even be close again. So it always feels sort of lucky, Instead, it used to be where there were so many different people where it felt like it was sustainable. But now there's that feeling of luck there, because if you take out GSU PM, we're not donating that $500 that we just did, and we'd only be, and Moofy's, we'd be probably at half currently, not even that, like less than that. So we used to have, I'd say back in the day, we had like 7 or 8 GSU PMs watching and helping out the channel every single night. And I know times aren't as good now, so it makes it a little harder. But right. Enjoy the luck and the ride and the counting occasionally. Oh yeah. But anyways, I appreciate it. I guess you gotta be lucky sometimes. Well, thank you. All right, let's go over this part again right here. I'm gonna start right here. It has now been approximately 20 months since the state's first made its request for a discovery disclosure alibi demand on May 23, 2023. As the court file reflects, highlighted by the above items, the defendant has failed to comply with the requirements of Idaho Code 19519, etc., etc. The defendant has yet to specify the specific place or places at which the defendant claims to have been at the time of the alleged offense, and the names and addresses of the witnesses upon whom he intends to rely to establish such alibi. I mean, I guess if you claimed that you were just sleeping, you wouldn't really have any witnesses, right? But he knows he wasn't there, and he knows that his car is proven to not be at home. And now we know his car was at 329, a quarter mile from the murder scene. Poor Ann Taylor. as directed by the February 23, 2024 order setting deadline and hearing, and as discussed in the state's April 26, 2024 response to notice of defendant's supplemental response to state's alibi demand. The defendant's proffered April 17, 2024 notice of defendant's supplemental response to state's alibi demand does not comply with the requirements of Idaho Code 19519 ICR 12.1 or with the specific directive of the court's February 23, 2024 order setting deadlines and hearing. Consequently, the defendant should be prohibited from presenting any evidence, whether by direct or cross-examination, in support of any... I totally agree. So this is what I've been telling the Proberger dummies. He's got to give his alibi before he goes to trial, or do it himself. And the reason is because you can't allow the defense to tailor their alibi to match what the prosecutors have in terms of their cell phone data. See, that's what he wants to be able to do. He wants to just kind of go with the flow and go, oh, yeah, okay, so I was over, and it's just stupid. It's stupid, and he needs to come forward with it now, or he has to testify at trial to have an alibi. And why would let me ask you this, why would a Proberger be opposed to that? Don't you want to hear Proberger go up and tell his alibi? I mean, you believe in him, right? So let him get up there and tell us all where he was, okay? It should be absolutely, should make you happy. But instead you're like, oh, that's bull crap. Why are you doing that? That's because you want a killer set free. You guys are sick. Right? Even were the defendant to attempt to comply at this late point in time, the state is irrevocably prejudiced. Exactly. See, this is what, and I bet they're going to say what I just said. It has now been over 2 years since the homicides occurred and since the defendant was charged, and it would be unrealistic at this late date to expect the state to effectively investigate and respond to any new additional alibi-related disclosures. This is precisely the situation that caused concern for the Idaho Court of Appeals in State versus Juarez, as well as the concerns of the United States Supreme Court. I think I actually think it's prejudice because now he's heard some of the state's information on cell phone data, etc. Let's see. State versus Juarez, as well as the concerns of the United States Supreme Court in Williams versus Florida, where the court noted the case with which an alibi can be fabricated and the state's interest is protecting itself against an 11th hour defense is both obvious and legitimate. The adversary system of trial is hardly an end in itself. It is not yet a poker game in which players enjoyed an absolute right always to conceal their cards until played. I don't know what's happening. We find ample room in that system, at least as far as due process is concerned, which is designed to enhance the search for truth in the criminal trial by ensuring both the defendant and the state's ample opportunity to investigate certain facts crucial to the determination of guilt or innocence. For these reasons, the court should issue an order prohibiting defendant from presenting any evidence, whether by direct or cross-examination, in support of any claimed alibi other than from the defendant himself. I think the judge is going to rule in the favor of the prosecutor in this situation right here. Hey, thanks, K-Me. All right, and Tracy Conrad. I remember you. Used to be here. Yeah, it is. It is nice to be able to do that. I mean, a lot of it's from, so what Kenny said, it's nice to be able to supplement An income and donate while doing what you're passionate about. Right, exactly. Yeah, and the thing is, that's why I'm trying to do a lot more videos, because without those videos, we'd just be drowning right now. You know, so I'm trying to do these videos that at least bring something extra in, where I used to never make video, very rarely, maybe 1 or 2 videos a month, but I just did live streams. Now I have to try to do like, and then it gets really difficult when, you know, you put a video out and you spend a couple hours making it, and it gets 1,200 views. It's just, wow, how does that even a reality? With 151,000 subs, you'd think you'd accidentally get 5,000 views, you know. We do too. Let's hear the lies. I don't know what that means. State wants judge to make Burger take the stand. I don't know who the hell that is. Koberger, you mean? Yeah. Right. I don't know if it's common, because maybe other cases they try to come up with an alibi. But anyways, let's go up to here and let's see if we can, using the system out here. So we got this system, and then here's Koberger. So let me just see these dates. The attached partial transcript, let me see, where does it start? The state's May 23rd. Okay. No, and what's it called? Mr. Gray's motion, it says. That's funny. Disclosure, request for discovery disclosure. What's it called? Request for discovery disclosure. I think that's it, right? I think this might be it. Yeah, there it is, right here. So, let me download that one. I think I should just download all these. This might be an interesting video. Okay, Koberger. That's one we're doing. Put that in there. Ah, shoot. Okay, call this supporting docs. We'll put those in there. And then so where does it start again? Right here. Request for discovery, alibi demand. And then the July 22nd, 2023. July 20. Oh, I don't see it in there. July 22nd, 2023. Motion to compel notice of the motion to compel, huh? Why isn't that in there? Is that the right year? Yeah, I don't know. That one's not in there. It's missing. Well, here's the first one in here, the discovery alibi demand. So I think this is when they first asked for it. And so there's like a motion. Let me see if that word's even in there. Motion to compel. I mean, that maybe it's somewhere else that they just miswrote it. Now, there's motion to compel. That's different. Then it's second motion to compel. Motion to compel notice. Let me put that in there. How about that? Is that gonna... Oh, maybe that's it right there. Notice defendant's response. See, that's weird. That's the response to it. But where's your notice to compel, the one on the 22nd? See, here's the response to it. I mean, that's pretty crazy. Comes now, Brian Koberger, by and through his attorney of record, Ann C. Taylor. Mr. Koberger notes that Idaho Code preserves his constitutional right to silence as well as to testify on his own behalf. Mr. Koberger stands firm on his constitutional rights as well as statutory recognition of that right. Noteworthy is that an alibi indicates a line of proof by which the defendant attempts to show that he could not have committed the crime in which he is accused because he was elsewhere at the time. Mr. Koberger's defense team continues investigating and preparing his case. Evidence corroborating Mr. Koberger being at a location other than the King Road address will be disclosed pursuant to discovery. Yeah, right. So as soon as we find the information that you have, we'll tell you where he was. You should know where he is right now. You see how this is ridiculous, you guys? Just listen to this. Mr. Koberger's defense team continues investigating and preparing his case. Evidence corroborating Mr. Koberger's being at a location other than King Road address will be disclosed pursuant to discovery and evidentiary rules as well as statutory requirements. It is anticipated this evidence may be offered by way of cross-examination of witnesses. So as you're going along, you could go, oh, yep, okay, yeah, ooh, there we go. No, Koberger should know exactly where he was right this second. You should be able to put it out there easily on paper. Let's see, August 2nd, 2023, objection to the state motion to compel. Let's see if that's in there. August 2nd, right there. There it is. That one's in there. What was that first one again? It was May 23rd. Discovery of disclosure. I think that was it. Yeah. Come on, Jesus. Yeah, I've already got that one. Yeah, I've already lost one of the ones I was trying to do. So August 2nd. I think I'm missing the... Oh, it's July 22nd? July 22nd, 2023. So there was one that was right around there. Yeah, so that's not there, but then right there, the notice of defendant's response is in there. It's 2 days later. Are you guys bored out of your minds? I could see it. Okay, then back to this one. And attached partial transcript of the August 18th court hearing. Oh, so there's a transcript. I don't know if we have that. The August 22nd, 23 scheduling order. Isn't that one that we did just a second ago? Scheduling order. Yeah, that's that one. Word alibi's in there. And defendant waives speedy trial August 23rd, 2023. I think we saw that one. Motion to dismiss indictment. File memorandum. There's a speedy trial one. Okay, you're not bored. All right. I know Zozo would be bored. I can tell you that. The state's December 21st, 2023 motion for scheduling order. I'm just trying to get all... Let me just keep this off to the side and, you know, try to do it over here quicker. So the next one is December 21st. Motion to schedule... Yeah, that's the one. Motion for scheduling order, which is the second full paragraph on page 3, refers to the issue of alibi. So I was actually wanting to do that. Just cut the part out that I need that matches what they're talking about. So this would be the state's December... Let me save this first. Working on anything... Put it into there, and then it said it's the, which is the second full paragraph on page 3. So right here, the court's August 22nd, 2023 scheduling order also directed the submission of trial exhibits and names of witnesses. The state again requests that the court afford the parties the opportunity to supplement those responses after they... When they say full paragraph, I think it's this one right here. That's partial paragraph. So in its August 22nd, 2023 scheduling order, the court ordered or afforded the defendant an additional opportunity to provide notice of alibi in accordance with court rules and statute. The state submits that the defendant has already been afforded this opportunity, and the court heard argument on the motions relating to such. The state submits the opportunity for the defendant to disclose an alibi and notify the state of the same has passed and asks that the court not reopen this issue. Okay, so what I wanted to do originally was just kind of grab exactly what it's referring to here, and then I could make a video that just kind of goes through and easily explains each part. So this is going to be the 2023 12/21, and then it was page 3, second full paragraph. There you go. Boom. All right, so you got that screenshot in there. And then the next one is February 23rd, 2024 order setting deadline and hearing. So this was February 23rd. Yeah, see, we're missing again. Now that says order setting hearing. That's February 12th. That's what it's called. Order setting, oh, it's deadline hearing. Yeah, that's not it. Order setting deadline. That's 11/8/2023. Is that the same thing? They just have the date wrong? Motion for scheduling order. Order setting deadline and hearing. That one's for IGG. That's frustrating. I mean, why wouldn't the documents be in here? Order setting, that one has this exact name, and that's February 29th. They have February 23rd. Let's just see if they have the date wrong. Order setting deadlines and hearing. Order setting deadlines and hearing, which in paragraph 1 sets an alibi compliance deadline. Yeah, any notice of defense about, that's it. Okay. They had the wrong date though, so that's pretty frustrating. Right there. This one's any notice of defense of alibi must be filed no later than April 17, 2024 if defendant intends to offer a defense of alibi. Hey, thanks for the reading fee, Moofies. Yeah, as soon as we hit that goal, boy, it went. But at least we got there. God, my stomach is just making all kinds of noises. Alright. File, save as, and see this is incorrectly marked, so I gotta make it match what the other document said. 2024 02/23. And then it's paragraph 1. There we go. So this one shall state the specific place or places at which the defendant claims to have been at the time of the alleged offense. Hey, thank you, GSU PM and Moofies again.
Movie as match.
And I know a lot of the other freaks have always helped out over the years. I mean, it's like there's so many of you guys that are always helping all the time. So, you know, I understand. Okay, so that was the December. Then we got the February 23rd one. The next one is April 17th, 2024. And and it should say notice of defendant's supplemental response to state's alibi demand. Okay.
GSU 1 up.
Hey, thank you. Moofies. God, my stomach just keeps going. And that was so this is the whole thing, right? Okay, so I guess this one is, let's see, comes now Brian Koberger by and through his attorney. Mr. Koberger moved to Pullman, Washington in June of 2022 as an avid runner and hiker. Here we go. He explored many areas of Palouse. Of note, he explored Wawawe Park in July of 2022. Mr. Koberger grabbed a telescope and was Copernicus himself, and this became a favorite location. After the school year began, Mr. Koberger was busy with classes and work at Washington State University, and his running and hiking decreased, but did not stop. Instead, his nighttime drives increased. This is supported by data from Mr. Koberger's phone, showing him in the countryside late at night and or in the early morning on several occasions. The phone data includes numerous photographs taken on several different late evenings and early mornings, including in November, but not November 13th. Doesn't say that. Mr. Koberger was out driving in the early morning hours of November 13th, 2022. Yes, we know that, Ann Taylor, as you've told us. At 3:29, he was driving a quarter mile from the house where 4 of the victims were killed, and Brian Koberger's DNA was found on a knife sheath left in said house, as he often did to hike and run or to see the moon and stars. What a joke. Hey, thanks, GSU PM. He drove throughout the area south of Pullman, Washington, west of Moscow, Idaho, including Wawawe Park. Mr. Koberger intends to offer testimony of Cy Ray, the legendary discredited expert, to tell us about cell towers and other radio frequency curriculum, whatever the hell he is, to show that Brian Koberger's mobile device was south of Pullman, Washington, and west of Moscow, Idaho, on November 13, 2022. You forgot to mention its ping off of Blaine, Idaho. You forgot that one. All right, so let me put this in there. Working on 2025 Koberger supporting document. Boom. That was already in there. It already exists. I guess it was. I don't know why. Maybe we looked at that earlier. Okay, then April 26th. You might already have that one too. April 26th, and that one's called the Response to Notice of Defendant's Supplemental Response. So there was a 17th. So what's it called again? It was Response to Notice. Okay, is that it? There it is. And that is the full thing, I guess. So I guess we can take a look at this. This is the response to it. Right, I remember reading this one. This is the state, and it's saying, this is bullshit. Thanks, Moofies and GSU PM. All right. Let's see. The state respectfully submits that the defendant's supplemental alibi response continues to lack the specificity required by Idaho Code 19519, which provides that the defense shall state the specific place or places at which the defendant claims to have been at the time of the alleged offense, and the names and addresses of the witnesses upon whom he intends to rely to establish such alibi. The defendant's April 17, 2024 submission minimally adds to the alibi notice dated July 24, 2023. The defendant states that he was driving around during the early morning hours of November 13, 2022, and drove throughout the area south of Pullman, Washington, west of Moscow, Idaho, including Wawawe Park, with the exception of the reference to Wawawe Park, which is new. The defendant is offering nothing new to his initial alibi, that he was simply driving around during the morning hours of November 13, 2022, as the state noted during the August 2023 hearing. The state is aware that the defendant was driving around rural areas of Whitman County, Washington. Right, they know that. Whitman County, Washington, and Latah County, Idaho, during the early morning hours of November 13th. In fact, the defendant travels during that time are described in the original probable cause affidavit. Exactly. Supporting the criminal complaint in this case. As to the defendant's reference to potential testimony about the location of defendant's cell phone on the morning of November 13th, this information does not rise to the level of an alibi at the time of the homicides because the defendant's cell phone stopped reporting to the cellular network before the homicides and continued to not report until after the homicides. The location of the defendant's cell phone at times other than the time of the homicides is not proof of or relevant to the defendant's specific location at the time of the homicide. Well, that's a great point there. Like, who, but his phone was turned off, so where it pinged outside of that doesn't prove where he was during the crimes. Because remember, the car sped away at a high rate of speed at 420. Then at 448, it pinged near Blaine, Idaho. And that's when it was finally turned back on again. So where was the phone, though, at around 408 to 420, for example? Hey, all right. Yeah, GSU said, join us, freaks. That's right, everybody. If you could please help support the channel tonight, that'd be great. If you got GSU and PM on a battle going on, and maybe some other freaks could join right in. Jessica Schubach, look at that, 62 months. Is that I think you're right up there with like Zozo's 60, and then I think Lanky Tor is something like that, right? 62 months, man. That's 5 years and 2 months. Wow, what a nightmare it's been for you all that time. Well, there goes Moofies and GSU PM again. Thank you. Got to tap out. Yeah, yeah, I don't know. You don't. I appreciate you doing that, but you didn't have to. I give. You win. Yeah, don't worry. I wasn't expecting you guys to. Oh yeah, 56 months, huh, Timothy? That's pretty sweet. Awesome. All right, so we got that one, and then I think the next one is June 27th, 2024. And what's that one called? Scheduling order. Is the word alibi on here? I don't see it. Scheduling order, which is subsequent alibi disclosure deadline, and so I don't think the word out. Oh wait. Oh, it's probably there. There's no words. Let's see, alibi. June 27th. It's the only one there. It's got to be it. And that was subsequent to the April 17th, 2024. It has now been approximately 20 months since the state first made its request for discovery on May 20, or the alibi demand on May 23rd, 2023. All right. Man, I don't know what's going on with my stomach. What I ate must have been broccoli or something. All right, so maybe I'll make a video using that information and go over whatever. I think one of the items was missing though, so I'll have to just figure it out, I guess. But hey, our donation night, it's our one, is on the, is this a leap year this year? Or is it the 28th is the last day? Anybody? Anybody know? Anybody know at all? You can hear my stomach go, "Argh." Okay, it's a regular one. Okay, it's 28th. So that means donation night is, what's today? Tuesday? It must be Friday then. Or is today Monday? I don't even know what day it is. Oh, it's Tuesday. So Friday is donation night. So that we have for an hour or so, we have one push where everybody's, we make one last push on the channel, and then I send money out to various places, all right? So if you can all show up for that. We always have the lowest turnout of the month on donation night. It's actually really discouraging. I don't know what that is, but I wish, like that should be our big night, because that's when we're making a difference. But yeah, what's going on, Moofies? I don't want you to get burnt out, I appreciate it, though. That was very kind of you. That was nice of you, though. I appreciate it. I mean, I don't want anybody sending anything here if they can't afford it. Like, if it's like, if you're struggling at home, I don't want you to send a nickel to this channel. But I'm just trying, if people are out there and they can, then they can. If they can't, they can't. Oh, well, thank you. Thank you. Like I said, tonight was one of those lucky nights. But if you missed it earlier, we gave $500 to the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. So that worked out. That was good. But I think that's about it for me tonight. I was going to talk about, I think I need to go watch the rest of the Dateline episode. I got another like 3/4 of it to go. So you guys should all watch it so we can talk about it. Why don't you guys watch the Dateline episode 30, or season 33, episode 16, A Walk Through the Woods, I think it might be called. But it's with the Abby and Libby, and it was just put out on the 21st. So if you guys all watch that, maybe we could have a cool conversation, take notes, and we can discuss different elements of parts that you came up with. I mean, some of the things I was thinking about during the little bit that I did get to see was, let's see, if I could just read my writing. Yeah, so what was interesting is, like, Richard Allen, if you think about it, remember when they had that big press conference with the very first one? I think it was the 22nd, I think, February. What's interesting about that, no access from her? What does that mean? Oh, yeah, what I brought up was, it's interesting to see, because that press conference, they'd already talked to Richard Allen. Like, somebody had already interviewed him. And they're doing this press conference. And isn't that interesting? That he'd already been interviewed, and the guy that interviewed him is sitting right there. I don't know what you're referring to, Zoza. No access from here. Oh, you can't access what? Oh, the show? Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah. I just don't need, when you say no access from here, out of nowhere, I don't know what you're referring to. Just say, I don't have access to the show from here. I didn't know what you were saying. Anyways, and then a couple other things were, this whole Kathy Allen thing, we know that she said that when he said that he was on the bridge to the detectives, and they let her know. She goes, "You didn't tell me you were on the bridge." So that made me think, well, God, maybe, she didn't believe that it was him. But you got to wonder, remember when everybody heard the interrogations, they all said that the voice sounded exactly like Richard Allen? Like, everybody that heard that just go, oh, yeah. Well, didn't his wife hear that? What are you talking about, Lisa? In the Bundy investigation. And what do you mean you have a suspect? we don't have suspects. We're just... wonder if one of us could... No, it's 2 hours. Can't do it. I mean, maybe there's a way to do it on Discord or something where you could have a theater or some theater and play it. I don't know. But you'd have to have access to a cable outlet and then be able to stream the episode on your computer and then somehow have it not blocked, because sometimes they block that. But what are you talking about, Lisa Valenzuela? When you say, I have a suspect in the Bundy investigation. Can you answer the question? It's been like 5 minutes since I asked. Yeah, it's Walk to the Woods. I just said that. Yeah. And I even said it was episode 33, or season 33, episode 16. I just read that out loud. I don't get what that means. Oh, it's just a joke? Oh. I see. Well, his name's Ted Bundy. Oh, you mean the Ted Bundy, the donator. You guys are not making any sense at all, man. Just type in what, please, you guys. I don't have girl code. I can't I don't know what the hell you're saying unless you have all of the nouns and everything precisely put into a sentence. I don't know that you're referring to the guy that sent in the coffees named Ted Bundy. I mean, how in the hell would I know that based on what you're... It's just crazy, you guys. My God, it's like, I don't know how any of you even know what the hell you're talking about. Yeah, maybe it is freak code. Maybe we should start calling it that. Except I'm a freak, and I don't know the code. So I think it's more girl code. See, girl code is the ability for women to communicate using very few words, and they all know exactly what they're talking about. And every guy that's watching and listening is dumbfounded. Okay? So that's what girl code came from. I think those are awesome shirts, too. You guys should buy those. I know, you do. I know you guys do. And then guys know what the hell I'm talking about, too. If there's any guys here, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Yeah. And Timothy Cecil's exactly the same. I guarantee it. He's sitting half the time he's like, what in the hell are you talking about? And and everyone else says, oh, you're talking about... You have somebody go like a blah, 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 blah. Oh, yes, I bought 5 of those last week. What are you talking about? Oh, it was these flowers, What? How did anybody know what that meant? You guys are incredible. You guys should have been in World War II, and we wouldn't have had to use the Native American code. You guys just get up there and start doing your thing, and those Germans wouldn't know what the hell was going on, okay? And what you do is you put a female operative in the field, know them everywhere in the theater of war, and by God, you guys know what the hell you're talking about. But yeah, that was a pretty clever idea, though, wasn't it? When they used the code talker, I think it was like Navajo Indian, their language, because nobody else in the world knows it other than them. Oh, yeah. And it was funny because Doug Carter in the Delphi case, he's been accused of being bridge guy. Jerry Holman's been accused of being bridge guy. I've been accused of being bridge guy. They actually got a hold of me after, like, somebody tipped me into the Facebook page, and I was like, wow, that's awesome. So then I went over there and I put my video out of my crime scene flow, and then one of the officers was like, wow, this is awesome, and then told the prosecutor, and that's when he called me, or had me call him. He's like, wow, this is good stuff. You were able to come up with the flow of the crime using publicly available information. I was like, yep, that's right. Yeah, Navajo code talkers. The language is very complicated to try to learn. Yeah. We can talk with our expressions too. Yeah, you got me like 90. You always say what to me, Zozo, but when I'm saying, I don't even understand what you're saying. Like 90% of the time in the chat. You go, what? Because you leave out crucial pieces for someone like me who's not following along on your entire storyline to be able to get something out of it. So just kind of remember that there's the rest of us. You know, there are a couple guys in the audience, you know. My uncle, who was in jail for murder, was also accused of being the Delphi guy. He looks like the original sketch. Oh, yeah? Yeah. Yeah, good for him. Used to have full conversations across the room with both our husbands sitting there, not even realizing we said anything. You didn't say anything, right? It was just more of a look. Was who wasn't. Yeah, there's so many people accused of being bridge guy. My stomach sounds like thunder, and like thunder from a storm. Like if I heard that on a mic, I'd think it was from outside. Yeah, I think it's interesting though, isn't it, that they'd already interviewed Richard Allen when they gave that first press conference, and they had already interviewed him 5 days before. And then the guy that interviewed him's at the press conference, and he's just sort of doesn't even, nothing rings a bell to that guy. Man, that like Cindy's like, oh, we got to investigate. I don't think you investigate the guy. You just sort of look at him and go, man, how do you promote somebody that just doesn't think? Like, how does it not make it to the right person at that point? There's no, Cole, he doesn't know Richard Allen. They're not buddies, he was the other guy. He's the third person. They don't, That's what the wacko Richard Allen fan club nutjobs would say. But, Gracie, that's why I don't like you. Just because I don't think Koberger did it, you don't have to insult me, you bastard. Well, it's hard not to, because if you think Koberger didn't do it, you're an idiot. Like, literally stupid. Like, that means your brain doesn't work. And I don't have, and maybe I shouldn't say anything because maybe you've got a mental issue, like an actual diagnosis, where I shouldn't be saying something. But if you don't, wow, man, it's unreal. The cop dropped the ball for sure. It's a little... Yeah, everybody, we've all said that a million times, Kelly. You're not the first one or to say it or anything. Yeah, we've all said that since the second we found out that the tip was found in a box. We all said that, my God, how did he not think of it? And I think a lot of times was it's like you got these. Well, one of the things, it's like you want to compartmentalize the knowledge that people have. But I don't know. Sometimes I think the more people know, it doesn't sound like you're agreeing. You're telling me that you always thought. But I get what you're saying. You know, when you compartmentalize information, you know, like you don't let it share everything, then people don't know the significance of something. Don't you agree with that, Kelly? Like if you're sitting there and you're explaining to, like you give everybody the information. Hey, we're putting out this information. Here's the bridge guy. Now, if you get contacted by somebody in the next couple days, we want you to prioritize that because it might be them contacting us after seeing their picture. And so make sure that you have this image with you so that when you talk to them, you can ask them if this was them, because we've already put it out there and we asked them to communicate with us. So you can just ask them, is this you? And man, this case would have been over in like 5 minutes, I would say. And so, but the problem is was he aware that at any point in the future, Dan Doolin, was he made aware that those 3 girls passed a guy? You see, because that would be huge, right? Don't you think? So if, let's say Dan Doolin was told, they were all briefed every day. So on the 14th, they were told, hey, listen, our suspect, we believe, communicated with 3 girls as he came into the trails, because we've heard from Rayleigh, etc., right? Okay, so think about that. And then if he had known that information, and then Richard Allen says, yeah, I saw these 3 girls when he came in, he would be, ooh, shit, I'm on to something. This guy's it, right? He'd know it, right? Yeah, well, he would, Deborah, because you'd have to word it differently. See, what I would say is you would have the picture of him, as I've said before, and you'd say, when Richard Allen said, yeah, I was on the bridge, and we go, yeah, I thought this was you right here, this picture. And Richard Allen would have said, yeah, that's me. But he just would have had to say, what you'd say to him is, we have a trail camera. See, you'd have to have the whole script before. You go like this. Yeah, listen, yeah, we have a trail camera, and it took these pictures, and we think this might be you. Is this you? He would have said yes. Because now it's a trail camera, and he's already calling because he thinks people realize it's him. And so he goes in there, and he's going to say that, yes, that's him, right? Don't you agree with that? I mean, why wouldn't he? He's calling them thinking they've already known who he is. So he just would say, yeah, that was, that's me. And then you could immediately arrest him because you know that was a video that the girls took. And they already knew that the guy that took the video was the guy that said, down the hill. Right. So you'd have to just kind of do it like that. I think Kelly left. She got mad. All I said was, I know, we've said that 100 times. I know I should probably know this about, but, okay, well, you didn't respond when I just said a minute ago. Don't you think that's a good idea? What was the specific wording of the tip that was dropped? Well, what do you mean? He went into the police station and he said that he said he was on the trails that day. He was there from 1:30 to 3:30, and then he passed these 3 girls, and then he walked to the bridge to look at fish. And then that was the original, no, the first one, he walked to the bridge, I think, and he said he was looking at his stock ticker. And so those 3 girls, though, they had already told the police back then that the person they saw was the person in Libby's video. So that would have been enough. He didn't tell Dan Doolin what he was wearing or anything like that. He just said, yeah, I was on the trails from 1:30 to 3:30. I passed these 3 girls, and then I went to the bridge. And, gave him his IMEI number, etc., for his phone. So that should have been, but I think Dan Doolin didn't have enough information to know that he was interesting. He didn't. He just said he went to the bridge. He just didn't have enough information, Kelly. I just tried to explain that a minute ago. Just think about it for a minute. You know, at the press conference, that's when they put out the image of the guy on the bridge. But when he was, well, that's when, no, they actually put it out on the 15th. So there was already a picture out there of a guy on the bridge, but I just don't think that they just sent him out to go talk to people. They didn't strategize enough. I really believe that they needed to say, have a meeting with the officers that are going into the field to interview people after the image was released. I mean, this is all hindsight stuff, but come on, you got to admit, like, it's pretty simple. Think about it like this. What if they had sat down with all the officers that are going to go out in the field and say, listen, we've just put out the picture of the person on the bridge that we believe is responsible for doing this. Now, here, each of you, I'm handing you a picture of this person. When you're out in the next few days, we believe it's possible that he might contact us because he sees his picture and we've asked to talk to that person. So anybody that you meet that's a male, we want you to show them this picture and tell them and ask them if it's them, but tell them that it was taken from a trail camera and that we think it was them. However, it was a trail camera. We just wanted to make sure. And my God, that's so simple and such a simple thing to think of doing. You know, it's not like it's, oh, wow, that's hindsight stuff. Well, I don't know, man. That seems like that should be sort of a strategical thing to do every single time. These guys always come forward on stuff like that. They want to see what you got. And imagine had they said that to him and said, yeah, you know, Richard, or you know, when he's talking to Richard, he goes, Richard says, yeah, I was out the bridge that day. And then you go, yeah, we think this is you right here, as a matter of fact. And this is a trail camera we've got, and we just wanted to verify this was you. And then he'd say, yeah, that was me. All right, put your hands behind your back. That's how quickly that case would have been over. It would have been over on February 17th, 2017. It would have been amazing. And think of the evidence they would have had then, instead of having 5 years to cover up a trail, etc. And he still got convicted. What do you guys think of that? I know it's hindsight, but it seems... but what I'm really getting at is, when you have people going out in the field, you need to give them extra information so that they know... Because guess what? What's her name again? What's the lady's name? That the lady, the hero lady? What's her name? I don't know why her name isn't popping into my head. It usually does. The lady that found the tip. The reason she stumbled upon it and knew it was significant is because she knew all the stuff. Yeah, that's right, Kathy Shank. So she already knew all the stuff. Think about that. So she was going through all the tips all the time, and she knew everything. And she remembered that there was the 3 girls that remembered seeing the bridge guy when they were leaving. So when she came across that tip, she probably sprinted somewhere and realized the significance of it. Because guess what? If she didn't realize the significance of it, she just would have filed it just like she did all the other ones. And the only reason she knew the significance is because she had all of the information in her head. That makes sense? Because, I mean, that is the answer. She would have absolutely just filed that with all the other tips that she was filing, had she not, if she did not know that the 3 girls mentioned seeing somebody, because at that moment she finally answered one of the questions, and almost 2 questions, because it almost tells you exactly who the person who was parked at the abandoned CPS building was, just right there, because they said they got there at 1:30 to 3:30, and then they passed 3 girls. Well, he passed them in that location, which leads you right over to the abandoned CPS building. So that's crazy. But I think anybody that has common sense realizes that Richard Allen again, I'll say it again, the bodies were found on February 14th, 2017 around noon. The very next day, the image of the bridge guy was revealed to the public. And then the very next day after that, after the newspaper articles mentioned that the police want to speak to Richard Allen, or not Richard Allen, to the bridge guy, the guy in the picture, the very next day he goes into the police station. And see, that should have been just sort of a little red flaggy moment, don't you think? Anybody who called the next day, you give a little special attention to, because you just put out the image asking the person to contact you. Don't you agree with that too? Like, come on, you guys. That's just... Hey, everybody, we'd like to talk to this person. Next day, any male that calls in and mentions at all that they were there or anything like that, they're a huge target. Especially somebody saying they were there. I mean, isn't that incredible? So the next day, somebody actually claims that they were at the trails during the time of the murders, even at the bridge, and somehow that tip doesn't make it somewhere. See, again, that should have been orders by people. Listen, when you're out today, and any of the people that you're talking to, if they say that they were at the bridge on the day of the murders, we need to have that to be a priority. Bring that right over. You know, or if somebody else tells you somebody else was there, we need that to be a priority. It just feels like it was just, you know, people being sent out to talk to people. Yeah, we'll bring it back, and nobody knew anything, and it just got lost. Yeah, you get what I'm saying? Just bad, bad stuff. I think we probably all agree on that. Let's see. But I agree with what Julie said. Very frustrating. Very frustrating. Or, I mean, not Julie. Kelly is what I meant to say. Very frustrating. It's like, you know, even Becky brought that up in the interview she just did with Hidden True Crime. She said that, man, you know, it's sort of an interesting thing, though, because in some ways, you know, like Kelsey is turned into such a totally different, strong person. You know, the murders they happened, and they happened regardless. So if the arrest had happened right away, I don't know if she would have turned into the same person that she is today. And I think a lot of them, a lot of their self-confidence and the way that they, you know, their lives are, you know, better for the amount of time that it took. Like if it happened right away, it wouldn't have changed them. It would have just been negatively impacting them forever. I don't know if it ever would have made them, you know, especially somebody like Kelsey, who, you know, you could see how shy she was, and then over time got really, you know, able to speak in front of people, etc. Of course, not having the murders at all, they just would have lived their lives the way they are, and that would have been better. But since there was already the homicides, you might as well, you know, if it took longer in this one, then that means that's what allowed some of them to sort of grow a little bit. I don't know. What do you guys think about that? It's kind of I mean, not that you would go, hey, let's not solve it so people can grow. I'm just saying, you know, if you look back in time, it's had a positive effect, the amount of time it took on some of them. They, you know, developed a lot of different friends, a huge support system, confidence developed, etc. But, you know, I think everybody wants killers off the street as quick as possible. It's kind of a weird way to think about it, I guess. A little interesting. But anyways, you guys, all right, that's going to do it. So thank you to, let's see, we had Paulette, Lisa for the coffees, only 2 coffees today. And then we had Cheryl Bullock, Michelle P, and Miss Angels on PayPal. Then we had Alley Cake, Carrie, Moofies, Amber Maiden, Alley Cake, Kathy Friedenmaker, Jessica Schubach, Sandy Shirley, Kami, Linda Howell, as in Little Molden Howe, the cattle mutilations and crop circles. Gifted a membership. Let's see. You think it's Ivan? It could be him. I don't know. Kami, Cheryl Bullock, Moofies, gifted a membership. Naomi, GSU PM with a cat eye. Then Alley Cake gifted 5. And then Matthew, 256, Snarky Cinderella, Moofies. Then GSU PM with another cat eye. Then Moofies gifted 5. So that was like... and then Carolina T, then Moofies again for 42, which was close to a cat eye. Never had a $42 one, but that's what got us to the exact number. Then we had Snarky Cinderella gifted a membership, then Kami gifted a membership, then Moofies, GSU PM, Moofies, GSU PM, Moofies, GSU PM, Moofies, GSU PM, Moofies, Jessica Schubach, and GSU PM. Ended it. And sorry up there, Kelly, if I misunderstood what you were saying. I just read stuff, and I always think people are talking to me. You know, it's like people are just typing, and I'm always thinking, like, I think that's one of my problems. When I read people's comments, and I think, like, if somebody goes, "Oh, that's bullshit," right? And I go, "Well, screw you. Who the hell? Get the hell out of here, you bastard!" And they were saying, what, bullshit to some other person up in the chat, right? But I guess sometimes I assume people are talking to me. It's pretty funny. Hey, thanks, Moofies. I guess it's funny for me, but nobody else. Yeah, that's what I do, isn't it? That's what I do all the time. I realized that. All right, I'm going to do the spin for the notebook. Here we go. All right, here we go, everybody. And... oops. Moofies! All right, Moofies. Well, one of you two are going to win it, I guess. I've already got GSU PM on the... in the system. Well, there you go. There you go. Very cool. All right. Whoop, whoop. Yeah. Anyways, so for those of you out there that I misread your comments, sorry about that. Seems like I do that a couple times a show at least. I think, but a lot of times when I'll go, "What's that mean? What does that mean?" I don't get an answer for like 3 minutes. And then I don't see the answer because it took 3 minutes. I got to do the show. Well, cool. Well, send me an email, Moofies, with the name, and we'll put it on the list. All right. Yeah, one of these days soon. Maybe donation night we'll do a flyby or something like that. I don't know. We'll do something. But thanks, everybody. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Thanks for getting to the goal tonight and allowing us to donate the, it was a bigger loss for me tonight, but it was, that's what we do over here sometimes. If we had brought in $700 and some odd dollars, I would have broke even. But tonight we brought in, I don't know, pretty good. I think it was, let's see, $350 or so. And then we donated $500 to the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, which we've given tens of thousands of dollars to over the last 5 years. All right, everybody, thanks for being here. See you guys later. And as I always say, until next time, be safe out there. Yeah, I've been doing this true crime thing for quite a while now.
True crime thing.
And during this whole time,
This whole
I have not
time?
seen one person
Not even
that
one.
is a crime dissector, flag rejector. I'm a certified human lie detector. Gonna get ya on a stretcher if you try and play me like an old projector. Crime sector is my nectar. Professor Greg is gonna give another lecture.
Crime collector, freak connector, and I'm always gonna be a protector.
Fool deflector, interceptor.
I don't mean as a respecter with a vector.
On his pector, with all respect, ya. Just remember I've a temple fucking check ya.
I have no agenda, I'm no pretender, and I'll send it to you straight without a blender. And in the end, I'm gonna send you on a mission to reveal the true offender. Ah!
Right back to work. All right, everybody.
Oh my God, what the hell was that?
It was my crescendo, Gray, my crescendo.
Oh, never do a crescendo again, okay? All right, you guys. See you later. And be safe out there.